Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, the One Piece podcast that digs deep into every single chapter. We are talking chapter 1146 today.
The title is Countdown to a New World.
And what a countdown it is. We need to talk about this from the jump. The Straw Hats come face to face with a self-proclaimed god who gets blown in half by Usopp and then just puts herself back together.
A Knight of God on their ship, and she is not alone.
This is the kind of chapter that changes everything. If you're as invested in what comes next as we are, you should probably be subscribed to this channel. That way, you won't miss the moment the world actually breaks. Let's get into it.
The chapter picks up right on the ship. We have Nami, Usopp, Brook, and Jinbei facing down this intruder, Gunko.
And Jinbei, ever the professional, puts it together instantly. Human intruder, injured the guards, she's the one. Nami connects the dots that she's the one who took the kids. Simple. It's a classic Straw Hat situation. Mysterious bad guy shows up, took something or someone we need to get back. We've done this 100 times.
Except Gunko takes offense. She says she's not human. She calls herself a god.
The sheer arrogance, and not in the Enel way, not I have a logia fruit so I'm untouchable. This feels different, colder, like it's a statement of fact to her. Enel was a narcissist who found a power that let him live out his delusions. He had a god complex. This woman, it's like she's stating her job title.
It's a classification, not a boast. When a Marine says they're a vice admiral, they are stating their rank in a hierarchy. Gunko saying, I am a god, feels like the same thing. It implies there is a hierarchy of divinity and she exists within it. It's the institutionalization of godhood.
That is way, way creepier, because it means the world government doesn't just have soldiers and spies. They have a whole division of people who see themselves as a higher form of life. It's the celestial dragon ideology turned into an actual military force.
Nami isn't having any of it. She and the giant child Cologne demand the kids back, but Gunko dismisses Cologne completely. Her focus is clinical.
And she gives the game away. She says because the children are so large, they had to do it this way, that they're taking them to Mary Geoise. The second I hear Mary Geoise, my blood runs cold. Nothing good ever comes from being taken to Mary Geoise. It's a one-way trip for most people.
Jinbei thinks the same thing. He asks her directly if she's working for the Celestial Dragons, but Usopp, ever the observer, points out she doesn't look like any Celestial Dragon he's ever seen. No weird hairstyle, no bubble, no ridiculously ornate clothes. She looks like a soldier.
A uniform, practical gear. She's dressed for a mission, not for a life of pampered luxury. That's another thing that sets her apart. The Celestial Dragons are parasites. This woman is a predator.
And then Brook, of all people, drops the bomb. He just says it, calm as anything. She's one of the Knights of God.
Yo, ho, ho. The man just casually identifies a boogeyman. The silence after that on the ship must have been insane. Nami, Usopp, even Jinbei, their minds are probably racing. What is a Knight of God?
And she confirms it without a shred of hesitation. You're well-informed, corpse. The disrespect is palpable, but the confirmation is what matters. The legend is real.
My first thought was, of course it's Brook. The man has seen a century of history. He's not just old. He lived through an entirely different era. He was a knight himself, a royal guard. He would have been privy to the highest levels of political rumor. He's heard the whispers, the stories that get lost, the things sailors tell each other in taverns when they're too scared to be scared. He would be the one to recognize something that deep, that hidden.
It's not the kind of information you find in a history book. It's the kind of information that survives in ghost stories. The boogeymen of the world government who do the work the Marines and Cypher Pole can't or won't. The stories parents tell their children to make them behave. Or the Knights of God will come for you. For Brook to recognize her on sight suggests he may have even seen their handiwork before, a century ago.
It connects back to that conversation between Dragon and Inkavon. They were talking about them right before the Reverie went to hell, and the shadows we saw in Mary Geoise when they executed Mioscard. We've known they exist as a concept, but we've never seen one in action. I think we all assumed they were just Emu's bodyguards, stuck up on the red line.
But now, one is on a ship with our crew in the middle of the sea on a covert mission. This proves they are not just a palace guard. They are an active operational force, the hidden hand of the world government, capable of striking anywhere in the world.
And now, one is on a ship with our crew. Usopp, bless his heart, immediately asks the most direct question. Are you kidnapping them to be slaves? He knows what happens to people taken to Mary Geoise. He saw it firsthand at Sabayati. The absolute dehumanization.
It's the most logical and most horrible conclusion to draw, and Gunko's answer is to send one of her arrows flying after him. It seems to chase him like a heat-seeking missile. It glows with this faint ethereal light, and it doesn't fly straight. It weaves and bobs through the air like it has its own mind.
That's when Nami steps up. No hesitation. She summons Zeus, turns him into a massive shark of lightning, and sends him straight at Gunko. A perfect example of how much she's mastered her new power. That's not just a thundercloud anymore. That's a focused, weaponized storm. It's a super display of control.
The sheer destructive power of that attack would have leveled a pacifista. It would have given a vice admiral a very bad day. It was a top-tier attack from our navigator. But Gunko just redirects it. She doesn't block it, she doesn't dodge it. She holds up a hand and the arrow she's holding seems to glow. And suddenly, Zeus is turning around. She turns Zeus back on Nami.
What even is that? It's not hockey, is it? We've never seen armament or conqueror hockey do anything like that. Is it some kind of magnetic power? Is it a devil fruit we've never heard of? She just took control of a living bolt of lightning like it was nothing.
It suggests a power of command. She didn't fight Zeus, she commanded it, as if her will overrode Nami's. It's thematically consistent with her god status. A god doesn't wrestle with the storm, they direct it.
And then Brook, of all people, drops the bomb. He just says it, calm as anything. He's already dead. He'll stand in the way of anything for his crewmates. That's the bond. He doesn't even hesitate. He sees Nami as the target, and he just puts himself in the way. He took his own crewmate's ultimate attack to save her.
Given that Zeus is a homie, a being animated by a soul, it makes one wonder if Brook's own soul-based powers gave him some resistance, or if it hurt him on a deeper level than a normal electrical attack would. Either way, his loyalty is absolute. He is the crew's shield in his own way.
While this is happening, Gunko is monologuing. Of course she is. These villains love to hear themselves talk. But what she says is chilling. Originally, the world as they know it was supposed to vanish without anyone realizing it.
That line is one of the most terrifying things said in the entire series. It's so casual, so matter-of-fact. It's not a threat, it's a description of a failed plan.
What does that even mean? Vanish? Like Lulusia? You're telling me their original plan was to Lulusia the entire world? Just wipe the slate clean and nobody would even know it happened? How is that even possible?
It sounds like the Great Cleansing, doesn't it? A plan to erase islands, history, people, everything. Not with a buster call, which is messy and leaves witnesses, but with a clean, silent erasure. The Mother Flame is likely the tool for this. But she says a few people figured it out and warned the world. This implies the world government's hand was forced. They had to switch to a new, messier plan because their silent apocalypse was exposed.
The revolutionaries? Dragon's whole purpose is to fight the world government. He must have known something. Roger? Did he find out on Laugh-Tale and that's what made him laugh? The sheer insane ambition of it? Or maybe it goes back further. Joy Boy? Who warned them?
She doesn't say. Before she can, Usopp makes his move. He's been setting up this whole time. He blasts her with his pop greens, a full-on impact wolf, followed by a flurry of other explosive plants.
And it works. For a second, it's the most glorious moment. The impact wolf hits dead on, a massive explosion of concussive force, and it completely obliterates her entire upper body. It's just gone. Usopp did it. God Usopp, the man himself, took down a Knight of God. I was screaming, that's my boy. He saw his chance and he took it.
The strategy was sound. She was distracted, monologuing. He used a non-elemental, purely concussive attack. For a brief moment, it was a victory. And then she regenerates.
The horror of that. It's exactly like what we saw from the 5 elders on Egghead. The black lightning, the tendrils of what looks like dark smoke or energy, and then she's just whole again. No seam, no scar, not even a speck of dirt on her uniform. I don't think that's a devil fruit power. That has to be something else entirely. Lojas can reform, sure, but this wasn't reforming from an element. This was reforming from nothingness.
It confirms that this ability isn't exclusive to the Gorosei. It's a power wielded by the highest echelons of the world government, the gods of their world. It also raises the question of its origin. Is it a gift from Imu? A result of the same surgery that gave Imu eternal youth? Or is it a form of forbidden science, something even Vegapunk wouldn't dare to create?
It makes them terrifying. How do you fight someone you can't damage? You can't outlast them. You can't wear them down. It's like fighting a nightmare. Usopp's face, man. The triumphant grin wiped away and replaced with pure, unadulterated terror. The realization that his best shot, a perfect shot, did absolutely nothing.
Gunko just says nothing can stop the countdown and aims for Usopp. She forms a new arrow in her hand, and Usopp immediately understands. He realizes the arrow she summons signifies her target. It's a marker.
And the whole crew jumps in to save him. Jinbei, Nami, Brook, they're all trying to knock this arrow off course. It's that Straw Hat loyalty. One crewmate is in trouble, everyone moves. No questions asked. There's no strategy session, no what's the plan. It's just save our friend.
But Gunko uses this moment, this distraction she created, to lay out the entire plan. She says a vast war is coming, one that will consume the world, and whichever side the giants of Elbaph take will dramatically shift the balance of power.
So that's it. This whole thing, kidnapping the children, it's blackmail. It's the world government trying to force Elbaph to join them. That's not strength, that's cowardice. They're too scared to face the giants in a real battle, so they stoop to this. It's disgusting. It goes against every warrior's code Elbaph stands for.
It's a strategically sound, if morally bankrupt, maneuver. They see Elbaph's potential army as a crucial asset they need to control. By taking the children, they bypass any negotiation or diplomacy. They create a situation where Elbaph has only one choice: submit.
Nami refuses to believe it, calls it insane, but Jinbei, who has seen the depths of political maneuvering, sees it for what it is, a cowardly but effective tactic.
Gunko doesn't even care. She says she's just following orders and that she sees the children as trash. That's the line. That's the line you don't cross. You don't call children trash. Not in front of the Straw Hats. Never. It's the moment the Straw Hats go from fighting an enemy to fighting a monster. This isn't a soldier following orders anymore. This is someone who embodies the worst aspects of the world noble's philosophy. The idea that anyone not them is subhuman, disposable.
And Colin, the giant child, he hears this. He steps up to fight her himself. The kid's got guts, I'll give you that. He's a giant. Even as a kid, he's probably strong as an ox. But she's too fast, too skilled. She wraps an arrow around his neck, not to hurt him, but like a leash, and she just starts carrying him away, floating off the ship with him in tow. The absolute disrespect.
Jinbei and Brook immediately attack to stop him, trying to sever the arrow or strike her down. They are the two most experienced fighters in that group.
And she pulls out another broken ability, a move called Aloe. She makes their attacks hit each other. She just stands there, makes a simple gesture, and suddenly Jinbei's fishman karate punch slams right into Brook's chest, and Brook's sword slices across Jinbei's arm. They both go flying overboard.
It seems to be some kind of spatial manipulation or illusion. It's not a counter, it's a redirection. She turned their own strengths against each other. She didn't even need to attack them herself. She's not just a regenerating tank, she's a trickster, a combat pragmatist of the highest order.
After that, she just kicks Nami off the ship and lands a massive blow on Usopp, sending him crashing into the mast. Just like that, in the span of a few moments, she's neutralized the entire group. That's the power of a single Knight of God. A single one. How many are there? Are we talking like 9 of them? Are they all this strong?
It's a terrifyingly efficient display of power. She didn't just win, she dismantled them. She analyzed their strengths, Nami's elemental power, Jinbei and Brook's physical attacks, Usopp's ranged capabilities, and nullified each of them with a specific, tailored response. It was a tactical masterpiece.
Meanwhile, we cut away to what's happening elsewhere. We see Ripley carrying Lilith and Bonnie to safety, while I'm busy taking out the MMAs that were chasing them. Those guys didn't stand a chance against my radical beam. Super!
We then see Rumoshifu Killingham. He's just defeated Kiba and Ange, 2 of the giants. He's standing over them, and he looks completely unharmed.
Wiped the floor with them. Ange's body is immobilized by his ability. Mine Ika, it was called. It looks like her shadow is pinned to the ground by these weird flower-like constructs. That's a creepy power. A shadow-pinning flower man. Oda's creativity is nuts.
Yes, and he's communicating with the other knight, Shepard Summers. They're complaining that Elbaph's communication methods are inadequate, that they can't get a signal on their own Dendenmushi.
But Killingham is smart. He's not just a brute. He says every village has its own tool. He approaches a Dengomushi, a giant Dendenmushi that the giants use for island-wide broadcasts, and tells Shepard to talk through it. He's figured out how to hijack their entire communication network.
He's about to broadcast a message to all of Elbaph. It's a classic psychological warfare tactic. Demoralize the population, issue your demands, and show them you have defeated their strongest warriors.
And then the scene shifts to Summers himself, and the reveal here is it's a gut punch.
He's standing over the defeated body of Jaguar D. Sao.
Sao, the giant who saved Robin, the one who kept the knowledge of Ohara alive, the man who taught Robin how to laugh when she thought she'd never be happy again. He survived a buster call, frozen solid by Aokiji, only to be taken down here, on Elbaph. Shishi, it's just not fair.
And he has Robin and Chopper hiding in his hair. He's been protecting them this whole time, just as he did all those years ago on Ohara. His first instinct was to shield me, my counterpart, from harm.
His last words before he collapses, begging them to stay hidden, to save the children. Even as he's falling, after being beaten by a Knight of God, his first thought is protecting the next generation, and Robin. That's the will of D right there, defiant and caring, right to the very end.
It's the will of Ohara. The scholars died to protect history, and Sal is falling while trying to protect the future. And for me, for my character counterpart, to be right there, helpless, hiding in his hair, hearing those same protective words from him again, it's not just an echo of the past. It's the entire weight of the Ohara tragedy crashing down on her in the present moment.
It's devastating. It's bringing all that trauma right back to the surface. She finally found him, finally knew he was safe, and now this. But you know what? That's not going to break her. It's going to harden her resolve like nothing else could. The world government just made it personal for Nico Robin all over again. Big mistake.
And as Sal falls, Summers gives us this crucial piece of lore. He's angry. He's ranting into the Dengomushi, complaining about how difficult this all is. He says that giants should be using their power as mercenaries for the world government, that it's their natural purpose.
He sees them as weapons, not people, a resource to be exploited. It's the same mentality they have towards the children. They see this entire proud race of warriors and just think, how can we use them? Like they're just a bigger version of the Pacifista program.
And he blames someone named Harold for changing that, for making the giants a peaceful race. He says that if it weren't for Harold's nonsense, this entire army would already be ours.
Harold, that must be the new king of Elbaph, the one who took over after the old kings Dory and Brogy left. Maybe Loki is just a prince. This Harold must have been the one to change their entire culture. He stopped the endless dueling and turned them from a warrior for hire race into a proud, honorable nation.
It seems so. Summers resents him for taking this massive military asset off the board. It complicates their plans for world domination. It implies that in the past, perhaps a century ago, the world government could hire giants, but this King Harold instituted a cultural shift toward peace and honor, making them an unreliable asset for the government's nefarious purposes.
It shows you the fundamental difference in ideology. Elbaph, under this Herald, chose peace and honor. The world government sees that as a waste of potential power. They can't comprehend strength that isn't used for control, for domination. They see a sword and think it should always be stabbing someone, not hanging honorably on a wall.
Which is exactly why they're resorting to kidnapping children. They can't win the giants over with ideals, so they're using force and fear. Their worldview is so narrow that when someone won't be bought or persuaded, the only remaining option is coercion.
This entire chapter was just the world government showing their whole hand. Regeneration that makes them seem immortal, terrifying and esoteric abilities, perfectly coordinated attacks across an entire island, and a core philosophy of total control and dehumanization. The final war isn't coming anymore. It's here.
The first shots have been fired on Elbaph.
Before we get into what we think happens next, Oda's author comment this week was about a spice curry boom from Munko Ichijo-sensei. The man is thinking about curry while writing a chapter that's shaking the foundations of the world. I love that.
It's good that he finds moments of peace. A mind that can create a world this complex certainly needs to rest.
Absolutely. Okay, so this chapter raises a million questions. What do you think Gunko's aloe power actually is? Is it an illusion? Some kind of reality warping? Let us know what you think down in the comments. We read all of them. All right, Robin, hit me with your predictions for 1147.
First, I don't think Jinbe and Brook are out of the fight. They were knocked overboard. Jinbe is a fishman. The ocean is his home. I predict he's going to save Nami from the water, and they'll launch a counterattack from below the ship, maybe using his fishman karate to create a current to get them back on board or disrupt Gunko.
I love that. Using the environment. Okay, my first one. The cavalry arrives. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji have been conspicuously absent from this fight. I think next chapter they show up. The broadcast from Killingham goes live, they hear the threat, and it's an all-out monster trio assault on the Knights of God.
My second prediction concerns my counterpart and Chopper. They're hidden in Sal's hair, and he's just been defeated by Summers. I think they're going to remain hidden, and they will overhear Summers communicating with the other knights, revealing the true horrific purpose for the giant children in Mary Geoise. It won't just be for slavery. It will be for something much worse.
Ooh, dark. I like it. My second prediction is about the broadcast itself. Summers won't just make a threat. I think he's going to reveal a secret about Elbaph's past, something that this new King Harold has been trying to keep quiet, in an attempt to turn the giants against their own king and break their morale from the inside. Psychological warfare.
That's a very calculated move. I can see that. For my final prediction, it's about Harold. Summers' taunt about him making the giants into pacifists will be broadcast across all of Elbaph. I predict Harold will respond not with words, but with action. He will step onto the battlefield himself and display a level of power that shows everyone exactly why the world government is so afraid of a unified Elbaph. He will show them what a true giant king is capable of.
Yeah, a true warrior king. I can see that. Okay, my last one is for Usopp. He took a devastating blow. I think he's down, but not out. I predict we'll see him, through his own sheer willpower and his desire to be a brave warrior of the sea, get back up. Won't win the fight, but he'll manage to do something clever with his pop greens to save Colin, or at least buy enough time for the real heavy hitters to arrive, proving his worth right there on his idol's home soil.